So I'm gonna need Robert Eggers to do a Phantom of the Opera movie. Like, now that we know that he's doing, of course, his upcoming film Werewolf. He also has still in the works a Labyrinth movie. No more details on that. And like I just reported in the previous video, the dude is doing a Christmas Carol, which again, it's a story that's been done to death. But you could argue Dracula / Nosferatu has done that, and it's still pretty fucking awesome. Now, of the new age like era of horror movie directors like Ari Aster and all them, like these guys who want to do like, elevated horror. I've never cared much for elevated horror, but Eggers has always been kind of the standout for me. Eggers has been the guy who has basically been the one guy where I'll be like, yeah, Ari Aster's work like Midsommar and Beau is Afraid and all that. If you like those movies, that's fine. I just never fucking cared for them. But when I see Eggers, Eggers' work, I'm just like, it's the detail, the atmosphere, everything. And it's always exciting to see what he's going to come up with next. And it's one of those few directors where I'm like, God, I have to see what he's doing. And it's funny because, like, after Nosferatu and everything else, and now getting all these, major projects, there's one film project of one monster I would love to see him play with, above all others. Which is funny, I know a lot of people have said, like, maybe Frankenstein, and I think that'd be cool too, but even he admitted he tried making a Frankenstein movie not too long ago, and he immediately shit-canned it because he's like, I just hate this. Which is fair. But the monster I want, the character I want to see him do a take on is Phantom of the Opera, for a multitude of reasons. There are so many reasons as to why I would love to see him do Phantom of the Opera as his next big movie. First and foremost being, he's not going to make it a musical. I enjoy the musical of Phantom of the Opera, but I also would really like to get back to like the Lon Chaney terror that the Phantom brought. We haven't really seen that since, well, Robert Englund's gonzo fucking Phantom of the Opera movie, which I like that movie too, but I fully admit that movie is fucking gonzo, is just absolutely insanity. But yeah. So yeah, the attention to detail that he could do, the amount of work that he puts in all of his movies could easily be to 1881 Paris. And again, he's going to make the Phantom scary. I imagine the makeup for the Phantom is probably going to be a lot worse than whatever, Gerard Butler's Phantom looked like. I imagine how Eggers would do a Phantom movie. We'd probably have like the makeup would probably be like all over the face instead of the side of the face, and we'd go back to like a classic covering of it. I also imagine that he would pay attention more closely to the book, in that the Phantom would look more like gangrenous and more like, there isn't much of a face there. Something like truly horrid for Eric, the Phantom's real name, by the way. But again, going back to like the atmosphere, the detail, I think he would just absolutely excel at everything here. He would absolutely I think he would just absolutely kill it on a project like this. Now, would Willem Dafoe be part of this movie? Probably. Like I said in the previous video, it really is starting to feel like Willem Dafoe is becoming what De Niro is for Scorsese. That's what Dafoe is becoming for Robert Eggers. Now, would he play the Phantom? I don't think he would. I think he'd probably play like the owner, like one of the two new owners of the theater. I also imagine if he could get it, like I don't know who he would get for the role. I don't know who would play it, who would play the Phantom. I'm not going to say Bill Skarsgård, even though I think he would be good, but that's just too obvious. And again, I'm not great at casting to begin with, so I'm just not even going to bother with trying to attempt something like that. Now, the other thing I really do want to the other thing I would love to see with this film is just again, the grand scale of it. I think if you gave Eggers enough budget, the dude would absolutely crush it in terms of cinematography with this film. I think from the catacombs to the opera house itself, even to every detail, would be absolutely like just completely lavish and beautiful. Everything here would just be just a monument to how much detail the man puts into his work. And again, I kind of just don't want another. I don't want another. I know, yes, Phantom of the Opera is returning to Broadway, but like I'm kind of burnt out on the musical. I would like to see the Phantom return to a more horror aspect. That's something I really would like to see, is more of a horror story with Phantom of the Opera. Now, as to what you could do with that project, what you could, the amount of work and scale into it, I think he could handle it. But again, it's just a character I think would be perfect for him. I know, like he said, he wasn't going to do Frankenstein. And again, Universal keeps trying to like push out new Universal monsters, and it is nice to see them finally like go back to, not no disrespect to Claude Rains's Phantom. It's not. It's more of a. It doesn't feel like it belonged with the rest of the Universal monsters. That like it was in color. The story's kind of slow. And while Claude Rains is an excellent Phantom, it's not exactly. It's more of an opera than it is a Phantom of the Opera movie. So I'm glad, even though yes, it is public domain, I'm glad Universal Studios is going back to acknowledging more of Lon Chaney, even though again that's no longer under them anywhere. That's public domain. At least they're like they really want to take ownership of Lon Chaney's Phantom, because that was theirs. That is technically their movie, even though it's no longer in public domain. So I'm glad they're claiming it again. So I think again, also it'd be kind of fun if Eggers would play with a silent. Like it would be kind of interesting to see how Eggers would play with a silent era film. Like we saw how good he is with Nosferatu, but what I mean is like, would he play with the idea of like making a full on silent era movie with like dialogue cards or something? I'm curious. Like I think he could pull it off, but I'm just overthinking. Anyway, this is just me gushing about how much I love Eggers' work and his attention to detail, and one of the few horror directors out there, along with like Jordan Peele and a few other people here and there that I enjoy that are currently doing horror. But yeah. So you guys tell me in the comments below, would you want to see Robert Eggers take on Phantom of the Opera, or would you want him to see like someone else, or what other Universal monster would you like to see Eggers get a shot at? Technically, we've already gotten his Dracula with Nosferatu, so let's take that one off the table. Anyway, and we're probably going to get his version of the Wolfman and Werewolf, though I have to stress with that one, as I did a video a while ago saying that like people are expecting like a man-wolf kind of story, and we could get that. I think it'll be more like because again, Eggers is more historically accurate for the most part, so it'll probably be like a werewolf of the fable, like of the myths and legends of the 11th century. Anyway, so yeah, just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time, Multiverse.